All right, welcome everybody to the December 8th Human Relations Commission meeting. Mary, can you do roll call?
Commissioner Alasani, Commissioner Chen.
Here.
Commissioner Gordon Gray, Commissioner Onan.
Here.
Vice Chair Stinger, Commissioner Savage.
Here.
Chair Stone.
Here. Thank you. Do we have any agenda changes, requests, or deletions? Okay. Any oral communications? Okay, perfect. Before we go into our meeting, I'd like to just extend a warm welcome to our council member-elect, Lydia Koo. Thanks for being here with us. And we will jump into our business review of the draft options to update the HRC mission statement. Who's on, just a reminder, who's on the subcommittee? Who's present tonight?
Myself, Commissioner Gordon Gray, and Commissioner Savage. I'm sorry, Commissioner Savage, you're here. I was thinking I was the only one of the three of us here. But
okay, good. Perfect. Well, do you want either one of you want to lead us on this?
Well, I can start. I can be really short. As I see it, there are 4 versions: A, B, C, and nothing denoted. But and I have written one of them. To be quite honest, I don't even remember which one I wrote because they're all good. You know, they all say a little bit different. They're all accurate. They're all good. But gun to my head, I would pick the last one without a letter. But I'd be happy with any of them.
Oh, sorry. Which one? Last one without a letter.
That says additional suggestions.
Yeah, additional
okay,
suggestion.
Okay.
Yeah,
We can just call that one D, maybe.
Oh, good. Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
easy.
but there's so many paragraphs. Which paragraphs you're talking about? That all combined together?
Yeah, it's the whole
thing.
what?
The 3 paragraphs
Yes.
all
Yes.
together.
So it's either version A, version B, version C, and what was just named D at the bottom. The only other suggestion I would have with D is to smush it all together. So you don't have all those, you know. So
Yeah. I agree.
But
Eliminate the blank space.
Well, I like C. The simplest, the best.
Okay.
I guess my only I think I like D the most as well. I think it should be smushed together.
Yeah.
I really liked the beginning of C. I had some wordsmithing on it. I like that first sentence. I think it's a good beginning. I think the language, I changed it I changed it up a little bit to be, instead of promote just and fair treatment of all people who live and work in Palo Alto, particularly our most vulnerable populations, I wordsmithed it a little bit to promote just and fair treatment for all in Palo Alto, particularly our most vulnerable populations. I think that's got a good, strong beginning.
It is all people. It says treatment all people who live.
Right, I think the qualifier being live and work is the only thing I disliked about that all those versions have, is that it's to live and work, and I think I would like to just open it up. I think anyone in Palo Alto,
we have jurisdiction in Palo Alto cannot do other cities.
No, I'm saying not just people who are living and working in Palo Alto, people who are traveling through, who are visiting, just kind of, I don't want it to just be people who live or work. Just a little thing.
Yeah, not to be picky, but I think when it does say all people in Palo Alto, you just kind of assume, at least I would, those who live. I would like to see live and work. It just sounds a little more inclusive to me.
So maybe some other word to include. Actually, because I actually kind of like how the beginning of now D is live, work, study, worship, travel, and play in Palo Alto. Mm-hmm. Then Minka does not.
I think the concern I had with that one, I went back to the charter, because going back to the charter is the charge that this commission has from the council. And the charter is vague as to who it's from. It doesn't speak who it's for, but it speaks to what you have jurisdiction over, and that's issues of access, treatment of individuals' services. So I'm wondering, my only concern with that one is it's listing so many things, when I thought, part of me says, oh, that's great, look at all that it's mentioning. And then I went to the charter. I said, the charter's, like I said, moot about that, because it's speaking more to what we expect. And I took its mootness to mean it just means anybody. We expect these services, these access, the treatment of individuals, the services that are offered, the access to the programs to treat everybody with respect, with dignity, and to look out for these issues. So I personally did not see the need to alliterate so many specific things. That's my observation, like I said, by going to the charter and also thinking that, the HRC, this is really, something a little different than most commissions have as far as having a mission statement over and above its jurisdiction in the municipal code. And we've been told that that's fine, but I'm just thinking if it gets something that is that alliterative with all those items, I'd have a concern about that. So I like the versions that speak more what you expect. You expect these certain behaviors and treatment and for anybody in our community, whatever their status is for 5 minutes or for 40 years.
I agree.
Observation.
And that's why I'd like to get some language that makes that clearer, that it is for everyone in Palo Alto. And yeah, definitely way too wordy, the beginning of D. Commissioner Onan, do you have something?
Well, I did want to mention, this might be a little bit of a sensitive issue to bring up, but there have at times been problems with people visiting our community, for example, to use parks and playgrounds, who maybe have not always been respectful of those amenities and then even pushed out residents and prevented residents from accessing those amenities. And sometimes, there have been some hard feelings around people feel like their kids should be allowed to play at that playground, and someone visiting from a neighboring community is taking over that playground. And, if we have a very, very inclusive mission statement, there could be some hard choices to be made at times around, whose access to what amenities. Do we prioritize people who live and pay taxes here because, in effect, they're paying for the amenities? On the other hand, we don't want to be an unfriendly community where we don't share with other people, where appropriate. So those issues have come up, most notably, I think, with the access to Foothills Park issue.
And I can understand that for other commissions, but for ours being such a commission that focuses on more human rights and dignities and looking out for the equal protection of all, I don't think that equal protection should ever be limited to just Palo Altans. So that's why I'd like language that makes that clear. That doesn't matter if you're from East Palo Alto or Palo Alto. You're going to be treated the same way when you come here.
Well, what about just adding the word live, work, or visit? Wouldn't that cover everything?
I agree.
All right. So with your comments, and Minka, with your comments, I'd like to withdraw my support for version D and now concentrate on either version A or C.
So what if we then and then made the change to the beginning of for either one, because they both limited to live and work,
Right.
for version A or version C, for it to include the language that you just suggested: live, work,
Or visit.
or visit. That works for me. Any thoughts?
I like this the second paragraph of the version D. Promotes awareness of issues and national conversations. And then I think that's good, but I don't know how to incorporate it into version C, so make it a little bit longer, but more kind of...
Well, I think in version A that addresses it in the third line where it says issues by holding public forums and monthly public meetings.
All right.
On version A?
Yeah.
Version A. So this goes back to version A, huh?
Mm-hmm. I think, though, for a mission statement, it might be better if we stick to what I would call the meta level and not be too task or activity level, because we do a lot of things and we might want to right, in a broader,
Yeah.
more aspirational way and not a specific task or function that we serve.
So we don't have to tell them we hold public forums, but say we'll try to bring equality and respect and awareness. That kind of thing is kind of
Yeah.
a conceptual idea.
So Jill, which do you prefer?
Well, I like the bullets under version D. I'm wondering if we can somehow make them, though, I'm not sure bullets will work as well, because it looks like a very long, kind of wordy
And very
statement.
fragmented to me.
Yeah, so maybe we strive to create a community where civility, respect, and responsible actions are the norm. I don't know, create trust among people who live and work together. And I don't know about the last bullet. That seems a little too aspirational for me, and also a little too vague for me.
Yeah.
I like. I really want to focus on ensuring equal access and ensuring civil discourse. I think that's important. And I think somehow community outreach is an important function or aspirational goal that I think we should encompass in our mission statement. I like inform and empower the community. I like a lot of the language. I don't know if we need to kind of pull some things out and then wordsmith them back together.
Yeah, well, should we have another cut and paste session?
I think we needed to put it into one paragraph
Well, I'm
rather
thinking-
than fragmented.
What if trying to combine the two, and this is kind of difficult by just talking and not having the visual, but what if we started with the opening sentence of version C,
Yep.
and then it was and then going down to that last part of version D, the HRC strives to create a community in which civility, respect, and responsible actions are the norm, and in which trust exists, allowing people to live and work together, and then going up to that language of the HRC promotes, work together by promoting awareness of issues and enabling conversations which enhance inclusion.
Yeah, that could work.
I think it could.
But I think we should fix the language to make sure we can, it's like one idea, we propagate it, but not sort of one idea and switch another ideas, That makes it hard for a person to read about it and understand.
So can you repeat that, but just say it the way you want us?
Okay, so how it would read.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can do it. To promote just and fair treatment for all people who live, work, and visit Palo Alto, particularly our most vulnerable populations.
That's good.
The HRC strives to create a community in which civility, respect, and responsible actions are the norm, and in which trust exists, allowing people to live and work together by promoting awareness of issues and enabling conversations which enhance inclusion.
You got that?
I got it till the last part oh, I see where you went.
It just
Yeah.
went down
So
to the
you
paragraph.
did erase the last two lines of C.
Yes.
Okay, and then you went after that, you went up
To-
to,
The last paragraph, D.
okay. Can you read it one more time?
Sure.
Sure.
To promote just and fair treatment for all who live, work, and visit Palo Alto, particularly our most vulnerable populations, the HRC strives to create a community in which civility, respect, and responsible actions are the norm, and in which trust exists, allowing people to live and work together by promoting awareness of issues and enabling conversations which enhance inclusion. Yes, Councilmember Wolbach.
Sorry to butt in on this one, but I was just going to suggest, as an alternative, just to make it less wordy, but I'll leave this one up to you guys. In the debate about how to identify different groups of people, right? Live, work, play, etc. Right now you're working with live, work, or visit. You could conceivably just remove all of the enumeration and just say promote just and fair treatment of all people in Palo Alto. So just put that one out there for consideration.
Yeah, and I mean I agree. I from the beginning preferred the word all because I do agree. I think it makes it less wordy, which is always nice. But
It's fine.
yeah, okay.
And I think the last part of the the proposed mission statement where we say trust exists allowing people to live and work together, that part might be a little bit too much. I think the end part of by enabling, et cetera, was really good, but this middle section seems awkward to me. So I like where we got up to civility, respect, and responsible actions are the norm, and maybe then switch to by enabling blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I think it shortens it. I like that.
Yeah, that's fine with me. Commissioner Jen, any thoughts on that?
That's fine.
Okay.
We had to write another version and then read through it and think about it. Not too wordy, but it covers everything you want.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well then, so do we all kind of agree we'd want to have a second look at this then in January to make a final vote? And I think it'll be more proper
Yeah.
too with the larger commission here. Well then, I'll make a motion to continue this conversation to January. We'll put it back on the agenda and vote on it then, hopefully. Anyone want to second the motion?
I second.
Great. I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Perfect. Got that, Mary? Great, thank you. Okay, good conversation. Christmas miracle. We'll move on to number 2, selection of human services, resource allocation process, and community development block grant review committee members. So, as we all know, every couple of years we form our subcommittees to basically review applications from the various nonprofit organizations for the HISRAP grant. That's generally a fairly large task. I've served on it both times. And then there's the CDBG, which is typically less applications, less time consuming, but also very rewarding. And I've served on that subcommittee as well. They're both great. I think most of us have probably served on I think we all served on those at this point. So then education for all those millions of viewers.
Right.
And yeah, so we're here again to figure out who wants to be on those subcommittees for this year. I know that Commissioner Gordon Gray would like to be on, I think, both, correct?
I did not hear back. I emailed her specifically to see which one. My encouragement for you as commissioners is this is being the recommendation body to council for these two large bodies of money is your key responsibilities. And I really would encourage you that each of you, and it'll work out all of you but one in reality, would serve on at least one. My concern is, if someone serves on both, that's a huge time commitment, and if that's the only way it works out, I completely understand. But my encouragement to you would be that as many of you as possible serve on at least one, and you make that decision based on the personal time that you're able to give. I did hear back, so I don't know Commissioner Gordon Gray. She's happy to serve on one of them. I did not hear back which one, and I also corresponded with Commissioner Alasani, and he's happy to serve on either as needed as well. So I'll turn it back to you, Chair Stone, but I just really want to encourage, I know last time, some people served on both, which is fine, but I'd love that opportunity to be open to all of you, but you know your schedule's the best.
And what are the numbers for each?
It's hard to say each time.
Numbers of people that you need.
Oh, 3.
3 for each.
3 for each. I think last time we got away with 2 on CDBG, or was it 3 as well? Mary, what do you recall? I recall 3 on each. So 3 is, the maximum for any kind of subcommittee. So I'm really looking for 3 on each. I think this time, so the HISRAP, if that makes a difference to anybody, this is we are completely in e-procurement for HISRAP, so that means unless you print them out, all the applications will be available online. So that could be, someone could like that or someone could not like that. You don't get the big bulky folder. CDBG, I still think there's hard copies. If you wanted hard copies of the HISRAP one, that's something that Mary and I would definitely take care of for you, but it does give you the option if if that makes it easier to participate on that committee, they're all online now.
Great, thank you.
I have a suggestion. I'm definitely interested in serving on the HISRAP committee. I wasn't able to do that at our last cycle. And I believe Commissioner Gordon Gray served on the CDBG task force last time, and I think she's interested in HISRAP, so she may prefer to be on that one. I believe Commissioner Al-Hassani is very time challenged due to his job and his little baby. He may prefer to be on CDBG because it's less of a time commitment. So maybe we could kind of start with that breakdown, that I would offer to serve on one. I think Commissioner Gordon Gray would offer to serve with me on HISRAP. I think Commissioner Al-Hassani would maybe be happy to kick off the CDBG, and then let's see if anyone else would want to jump in.
I like to serve on HISRAP.
On
Because
HISRAP
I've
one?
done that before, so I know what to look for.
Perfect. Did either of you want to be on his rep?
No, in fact, referring to Mika's comments, my next few months are extremely busy, a lot of travel. So this time I might just, if all it requires is 6 and there are 7 of us, I will be the one to step aside.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I wanted to do the one that needed somebody. I'd like to do it.
CDBG?
I'll do that.
Sounds good. And I will do CDBG with you. Okay.
Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. Moving on. Number 3, update and discussion on the upcoming work plan items. As we've discussed our last couple of meetings, we're trying to move forward and make sure that 2017 is as successful as the last couple of years have been with all of our great forums and events. And we've been urging everyone to fill out our nice little Excel worksheet that Minka and Mary put together. So I don't know if anyone got a chance to do that or to open up the discussion about ideas that you've had on any events that you've been planning. I know that Vice Chair Stinger and I have been talking about the event that we want to do about kind of more workers' rights within the community. Vice Chair Stinger, do you want to kind of talk about it a little bit, and I'll chime in with whatever else is left?
Our objective was to make sure that everybody in the community, all of our service workers, knew that they were knew their rights, knew what they could access in the city, and knew that they were welcome in the city. Our schedule is to start exploratory meetings in January and kick off a discussion among ourselves and with different employers, labor unions, and city managers, and take it from there. So we're in an exploratory mode.
Yeah, I think basically the idea, and it kind of piggybacks a bit on our earlier conversation about the mission statement, that we want to make sure that everyone in Palo Alto feels safe, included, and I think especially right now seems to be a good appropriate time to be kind of having these conversations to make sure that everyone feels safe and accepted within the community. And I know my conversations with people in Palo Alto who don't live here, who may be minorities working within the city, a lot of times have told me that they don't feel accepted in Palo Alto, that that sometimes that they feel unsafe within the city. And so we thought it'd be a good time to have that event to show them that the different rights that they have within the city, or to just make it feel more inclusive. So perfect. Anyone else?
Well,
Yes.
I think. Oh, that's right. Thank you. Vice Chair Stinger, Commissioner Chen, and I met to discuss the elder abuse education event, and then we made quite a bit of progress. And I don't know, Vice Chair Stinger, did you want to kind of speak to the Excel sheet that we put together?
Why don't I get that and then I'll speak to it? I sat down too quickly. Do you want to, maybe we'll defer to Daryl while I get it?
Okay, just an update on the human trafficking one. Shelley and I were beginning to work on it, but then I contacted the Alto Police Department, and their email to me determined there really wasn't that big of that it is around San Jose, but in Palo Alto itself, they don't get that many calls about it. So we decided to replace that with another meeting about immigrants, which I will continue in our next item, and I'll tell you more about that later.
Perfect. Little teaser trailer. Anyone else then while Vice Chair Stinger grabs the, oh, okay, she's got it.
This is the one for workers' well-being, the worksheet for workers' well-being, and this is our event proposal for elder abuse. We had 3 goals, was to raise awareness of seniors' situations in this community, to educate seniors and their caregivers about which resources were available to them, and help facilitate the contact to different resources. The format we're proposing is a panel discussion with a moderator, but as you'll see later on, not a standalone panel. Possible speakers and panelists would include specialists, including legal staff, Palo Alto Police Department, Avenidas, social workers, and medical doctors specializing in senior services. Possible event partners are Avenidas, the City of Palo Alto, and the Family Y. We've spoken with both Avenidas and the Y, and both of those groups do programs for seniors and would like to incorporate a panel that we would help put together. So I see our role as sort of like a speakers bureau. We can organize the speakers, we can organize the topics, but it'll be folded into another event, so we won't be sponsoring a standalone event this time.
Yeah, I think the 2 events, correct me, I've got a, I'm like not, I know, I'm not like do this now. I think that.
You can turn yours off, Commissioner Chen, it makes yours louder.
Okay, so, that does, thank you. So I think the 2 events, if I recall correctly, was the annual health fair that the Y puts on, and then also I think the annual caretaker conference that Avenidas puts on. So we felt like those were 2 really good events for us to roll our awareness event into. Elder abuse is just something that is not discussed in this community, but the statistics are very alarming and in Santa Clara County as a whole. So we think this is a really good chance for the HRC to educate people, both the seniors, their caregivers, their families, the agencies who work with seniors, how to recognize it, how to report it, how to deal with it, and so forth. And we think these 2 larger community-based organizations can really help us get the word out.
Have you reached out to the district attorney's office? Because I know they had a great speaker on the domestic violence event. Okay.
I think we still have to decide which one, which date, what organization we're going to be associated with.
I think we're going to do both.
Both?
I think that was the plan, and I have agreed to serve, starting in the spring, I'll be working with the Y, because their health fair is in the fall, and so we will start making the preparations. The Avenidas event, is that in the summer, Vice Chair Stinger? Do you know that?
That's what says in here. I'm not sure. Is it in the summer?
The communication we had was spring and fall 2017 for the Avenidas event, and the annual Y annual health fair is September 17th.
So Avenidas is a spring event, I think. Is it here?
They have a spring event and a caregiver conference in the fall.
Okay, in the fall.
Yes.
Either way.
So we may end up kind of, replicating our Speakers Bureau more than once so that we can really, address different audiences and get this word out to the community that way.
And just to add some information, the Y Health Fair is now the Y City Health Fair. I think it's the same one that was this year at Mitchell Park, so they really joined forces with the city, and I know it was, bigger last year, and I know that the city is, leaning in a little bit more, so I think they learned some lessons from last year, so I think that it's an avenue to reach a pretty wide audience.
Yeah. I will mention, too, that I have repeatedly heard public service announcements on radio that come from Santa Clara County, they have a special telephone line for people to report elder abuse, and they seem to have some tools in place that I don't think we have here in Santa Clara County. At least they're not as widely publicized. So one of the things I will take on next year is researching what we have in this county versus what we have in our neighbor county, seeing if we can maybe borrow some best practices and maybe kind of get some traction around improving, both awareness and the tools that people have to deal with elder abuse.
Sounds great. Yeah, let me know the work you do on that. I'd like to join you on that particular issue. I worked a few elder abuse cases when I was helping out the district attorney's office, and they're horrible. They're so sad. So thank you for that. Anything else? Okay, perfect. Then we'll move to item number 4. And I know Commissioner Savage and I have been working on this, and we're very excited. So I'm going to have Commissioner Savage talk first on this.
Okay, so we have been really working quickly to plan this event. It's called Immigrants and Allies in 2017, Feeling Safe in a New Era. That's the working title. It might change. But what won't change is the date, Thursday, January 19th, 7 p.m. to 9 at Coverly in the theater there. Holds about 300 people, and we're hoping to fill it. And we've got quite a few. We have our panelists pretty much confirmed. Well, maybe I'll go through them. Dr. Elizabeth Revilla, Director of La Clinica Latina. Becky Cohn-Vargas, who used to be here, part of PAUSD. She's now Director of Not in Our Schools, a project of Not in Our Town. And not confirmed. An immigration lawyer will be there, and Andre Connell, Executive Director of Nuestra Casa. And the sponsors are Long, Palo Alto University, Palo Alto Medical Foundation is sponsoring, Multicultural Outreach Committee, YCS, Stanford Psychiatry Center for Youth Mental Health and Wellbeing, the Palo Alto YMCA, Adolescent Counseling Services, and more. And there will be an interpreter, a Spanish interpreter, and child care will be provided. And the committee wants to come to you, the HRC, to see if you will be a sponsor as well. And we will all be in good company. You want to add anything, Greer?
No, I think you covered it very well. Yeah, I mean, basically the whole idea behind the event, and I think that's why both Commissioner Savage and I were so drawn to it, is that it's again this idea that right now we're at a time in our country, in our community, where people are, especially the immigrant community, are so concerned about their future, the future of their friends and their family and the people that they know, and we all are, because we all know somebody who may be fearful of any potential changes coming. And so this whole idea of this event is to make sure that we are giving people the information, the knowledge, the education, and also just a safe space to kind of come together to hear like minds and people who are experts in this area, and to hopefully make people feel a little better about the future and a little more hopeful. And so that's why I know Commissioner Savage and I are on the steering committee with this. So that's the proper name for it. And so, yeah, we really hope that the HRC will want to sponsor this event.
I have a problem with my microphone because I can't remember to turn it on. I have a question, though. It seemed that the event, and I'm very supportive of this event. It sounds, I'm so proud that we're taking part in it. But it does sound very Latino-oriented, and I wonder if we really should be sensitive to the concerns of our Muslim American residents and colleagues. They've been threatened with being put on a national registry, which hasn't been done since like the Japanese American internment camps. And I just really wonder if we should be reaching out to some of those community groups as well and include them. This is not just a purely Latino problem.
That's right, and you're absolutely. And we have discussed the getting some Muslim groups and individuals, and it's just they're not on the panel at this moment. But again, it's a work in progress, and they will be represented.
And also as well, one thing that we have discussed is that we can't get everyone on the panel, even though we would like to. We have had discussions back and forth on this steering committee about how many panelists there should be. One thing we will have, even if a group is maybe not represented on the panel or there's a particular speaker, we are getting a lot of speakers who will be there sort of in the front row to also be able to pick up and answer questions on anything that, for an example there, if we do not have a speaker a panelist who can speak towards the threatened Muslim ban or registry, that maybe someone could be there in the front row who can step up and answer that question if something like that comes up. So it's also an add-on to that.
May I ask, who are the other sponsors for this event?
Well, I named them, the Palo University, Palo Medical Foundation, YCS, ACS.
All of them.
You want to see those?
That's all right.
Okay.
That's what I wondered. It's not through Santa Clara County. It's like
Cooperation with the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's mainly nonprofit organizations around here.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Question, is there anything more that we can do to support the
Yes,
work?
plenty. And if you'd like to volunteer, we'll be happy to include you in the next meeting, round of emails, et cetera.
Find out when I'm volunteering.
But yes.
Is it appropriate to have a motion?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I'd like to move that that the HRC sponsors the event and thanks the initiators for their efforts.
I'll second that.
Bert, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, wonderful. The sponsorship passes unanimously, and we're excited. Okay, moving on now to reports from officials. Do we have any commissioner reports? All right. Well, I'll start on this past Saturday. I attended the annual Buena Vista Posada. It was a lot of fun. Minka was there. Was anyone else there that Yes, and Valerie. Sorry about it. We didn't get a chance to hang out and drink ponche. Yes, and Councilmember Woolbach and Councilmember-elect Lydia Koo was there as well. It was a lot of fun. It was great. The tamales were amazing. There were several council members, several council member-elects. It was just a great event, and you could tell it was actually the first one that I've been able to attend, because it's all, December's crazy. So it was like the first time that I had a Saturday free in December for, I guess, the past couple of years. And it was so much fun. But you could just get this sense there that people did feel a bit of a sense of relief and hope that everything's going to work out with Buena Vista. And so that was just really nice to see everybody in high spirits. And it's just an incredible event. I didn't know this, that the city or no one really provides funding to Buena Vista. They do all this through their own donations and fundraising efforts, and so the work that they put in there was absolutely incredible and a really great way to start off the Christmas season. It put me in the mood, and it felt like Christmas. There's Christmas lights everywhere, and it was cold. It was very cold, but it was a lot of fun. So I enjoyed it, and I think that's my only announcement.
I think Commissioner Valerie Singer, and then I had gone to another event, I think. It's on Sunday afternoon. It's called Your Voice Matters, Empathy and the Marathon to Create an Inclusive Community. And that was very interesting. It's basically talk about housing situation. I thought it was more about empathy, but in general, but it's more about housing crisis in here. We hear discussion from official representative from different cities, like Palo Alto, Redwood City, and then Menlo Park, and everyone. It's a good, I was very impressed by this first speaker, who is a woman who had been under tremendous stress of housing, affordability. So she was in tears, and that was very, very impressive. So I think it emphasized how critical the crisis is in our city.
If I can just add to that, another takeaway that I had was how important regional work is. And I know that it was at a housing level, but I would also think that on some of the programs we're doing, our mission is to work with people who live and work in Palo Alto, but I don't think we should ignore what's going on in nearby cities. And and leverage our efforts and support other people's efforts on activities that we undertake.
Okay, any other commissioner reports? Okay, move on to our council liaison report. Councilmember Woolbach.
Just a couple of things. First, I'll just reiterate that both the Buena Vista Posada and also the event, the Your Voice Matters event on Sunday, I was at both of them, and both excellent and impressive. Just a couple of things to mention that I think will be of interest to the commission. One, and you might be aware of both of them. On the council, we recently had a discussion, but did not take any real action on the land use element of our comprehensive plan update, which will be coming back for further action after the new year when Councilmember-elect Koo will be joining us. And there was, I think, a substantial or very significant focus on housing affordability. I know that that's been an important issue for this commission, so I thought that was of note for you. Also, one thing I wanted to mention, along with Council members Burt, Holman, and Niss, I've brought forward a colleagues memo with a resolution that we'll be discussing as item 23 next Monday, the 12th. And the title is Colleagues Memo Reaffirming Palo Alto's Commitment to a Diverse, Supportive, Inclusive, and Protective Community. And I won't read the whole thing because it's long, but just a couple of highlights that I think will make clear why it might be of interest to members of the Human Relations Commission. The City of Palo Alto rejects bigotry in all its forms, including but not limited to Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, racism, nativism, misogyny, and homophobia. And the City of Palo Alto does not tolerate discrimination, hate crimes, harassment, or assault. And the City of Palo Alto will oppose any attempts to undermine the safety, security, and rights of members of our community. And the City of Palo Alto recognizes, values, and will proactively work to ensure the rights and privileges of everyone in Palo Alto, regardless of religion, ancestry, country of birth, immigration status, disability, gender, sexual orientation, or gender identity. And there's a bit more than that, but just a couple of highlights. So we would welcome any individual comments, although it's at this point probably not possible for the HRC to provide a group position on the resolution. Of course, as individuals, you're welcome to share any comments.
Okay, thank you. And Minka, staff liaison report.
Okay, I have a couple things. One is just to remind you of the Commissioner Recognition event next Thursday, 7 o'clock at the Art Center in the auditorium. So that's the room off of the back. So look forward to seeing you there. Also wanted to give an update on the HISRAP discussion that was at the Policy and Services Committee last week. It seems to blend together. Last week. So thank you for Vice Chair Stinger, who came and represented the HRC well. So, and I did ahead of time give you a copy of the staff report that went forward. So the committee members who were present, so that was Council Member Scharf, Council Member Niz, and Council Member Du Bois. Those were the 3 council members present. They were very appreciative of the contributions of nonprofits in Palo Alto, but however, after my staff presentation and several questions, there were 4 options for them to consider. They ended up going with option number 4, which is basically the status quo. So they did not recommend for the Finance Committee to consider any type of funding increase for HISRAP next year. A big part of their concern was, it's a couple-fold. One of it is just the news that the city may be facing, or probably is facing, an up to $6 million deficit in the general fund budget. And they have a concern about making a decision now when the budget discussion is still to happen in April, May, and June. They also had a concern about that one item in the city budget would have a set aside of an automatic CPI, and they weren't supportive of that type of policy decision. So unfortunately, they went with option number 4, and I, as staff, I completely understand the policy decision they made in light of the situation that the city is funding. The city is looking to address in the spring. So I understand their decision, and they asked really thoughtful questions. They, as I said, were very supportive of the work of nonprofits in our community. And I'm not sure if Vice Chair Stinger wanted to add anything more to that.
Yes, I would. I just would like to reflect that one of the things that I took away was a resistance to commit over the long period of time, over a set number of years, to a increase in budget until we know what funds we have to deal with. But I did hear an interest in, or I took away this comment, and I'm going to use it when I'm looking at the proposals that I have for the CBDG elements, that they might be interested in looking at new projects or new money and maybe providing seed money, so it wouldn't be something that we would commit to for many, many years. But if an organization has an idea that they want to try or pilot, and then they can use a little city money to get other money, it might be of interest. And I'm just going to keep my eye open for ideas that we might bring forth and support.
And I also want to remind the commissioners of the Human Services Emerging Need Fund that was approved by council last year. So that is $50,000 annual account that will help HISRAP and non-HISRAP grantees if they have an emergency or an emerging need. And once plans for that are more finalized, I had a review internally as far as the policies and practices for that. I will bring it to you just to present it to you. I definitely see a role of the the HRC in that, more looking at possibly, one representative of the HRC to serve as needed to review applications as they come in. So wanted to give you that update. Also wanted to let you know that Mary and I continue to work with a very enthusiastic community committee on the follow-up series for our forum last year, Being Different Together. So it's Being Different Together, taking the conversation deeper. We are continue to have very productive meetings with Dr. Joseph Brown from Stanford. He will be actually leading a series of 4 events for us that delve deeper into the issues of implicit bias, microaggressions, but really with the goal of looking at our community and helping us be able to effectively have dialogues together across our differences and come out on the other side with really being able to have some techniques to have those kind of conversations. So it's the committee that's working with Mary and our Vice Chair Singer, Commissioner Gordon Gray, Pastor Coloma Smith from AME Zion, Rabbi Emeritus Shelley Lewis. We have 2 Shelleys on the committee, so sometimes it confuses me. So those, and Ruth Ann Garcia from the Palo Alto Library System. So is there anything, I know this is my report, but is there anything you wanted to quickly add? We hope by later this month, or probably early next month, we will have an invitation that we can share with you about that. But I think, we think with the timing of your event and with the timing of our event, with the timing of the colleagues' memo, we really feel like this is a powerful statement in the community of building one in which people respect each other.
I guess what I would like to add is just appreciation for Dr. Brown and Pastor Smith and the whole committee. We've really put a lot of effort in. We approached Dr. Brown with a request, and his enthusiasm and his time has been remarkable. I think this will be a really good opportunity for us to look at how we listen and articulate our differences and work through the process of being a community and perhaps a model city.
Okay, thank you. We have a tentative agenda for our next meeting on January 12th. And then we'll come back then with the updated HRC mission statement. Hopefully have a final vote on that. Anything else?
I noticed that it says it's a special meeting,
That
but
was a
isn't our next one?
mistake.
Okay, it's a regular one, okay.
Update on the immigrant event.
Definitely.
Preparation for a study session?
Oh, yes. Thank you.
And will we have a speaker?
That was my question. So I have that on my tentative agenda, that I will look for another speaker for the mental health series. We also, Chair Stone, had talked at agenda planning if the HRC wanted to have an additional discussion of any type of events and responses post-election, and anything else for the HRC's work plan for this year, if the commission wants to agendize that, or if you feel that with the event that you're co-sponsoring and the event that Human Services is doing, if that would be sufficient now. But we did not feel it would be sufficiently noticing the public just to fold that in to the work plan discussion for today. So we felt like if that's a discussion you wanted to have, it would need to be on the agenda, posted very specifically.
Yeah.
It kind of goes into your comment last meeting about, I wish we could have, you said, I wish we could have done some type of quick community gathering. So I leave that to you to discuss.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I did want to address that, because I do think almost of any time to where the HRC we are relevant in the community, but right now this kind of we do offer the community an ability to vent any frustrations or concerns that they have, and I think it's almost a missed opportunity for us not to at least agendize a discussion on that very issue. So I'd like to see that agendized, but it is kind of a different type of agenda item to have this sort of discussion. So we did want to see what the rest of the commission, what the rest of you thought about it.
What about issuing a statement similar to Corey's colleague's memo, maybe a little more concise and shorter, what?
Also, in response to what you said, once the council has taken action, the HRC can come out in support of their statement, or you can issue your own statement. I know the San Francisco HRC issued a statement as well, but any type of statement you would have to do would, have to be agendized.
Yeah. Well, yeah, let's, the first thing.
The words that I think you used, Minka, were really strong. I think you suggested a community of tolerance and respect. And I guess my suggestion would be that the agenda look at, have we taken on everything that we need to do? Have we done a needs assessment? Do we have programs that make us a community of tolerance and respect?
Okay, perfect. Then we'll add that to the agenda. Anything else?
Can I actually?
Yes, please.
Sorry to weigh in again. Both with the thing you were just discussing and at the time of a study session with the City Council, I would just encourage HRC, either as a body or as individuals, to not be hesitant to recommend any policies or programs to the city council, which you think would require council direction in order to move forward on that, pursuit of a more inclusive, tolerant community.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Well, wonderful. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you,
Okay.
everybody. Up.
I just want to make a suggestion for a speaker for next time.
Yes.
Before we go, I'm very interested in the phenomenon of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. It affects many of the veterans who are homeless in our community, and many of the mentally ill people who are homeless in our community. And I'm wondering if we can tap an expert, maybe from the VA or from Stanford, to maybe speak to that particular issue.
I can do that. I think last spring, I went to a homeless veteran event that the VA hosted, so I should be able to tap one of those contacts. So, Commissioner Onan, are we looking at a mental health for the spring, or are you looking more maybe next fall at this point?
Well, I need to figure out my commitment to the elder abuse event.
Okay.
And then see when and how I can also drive a second event and work and continue to recover from my surgery. But I will figure out how to do all of these things.
Okay.
But I may need to ask my colleagues for some help. I don't think I can do all this heavy lifting alone.
Okay, I know that when I have invited other people, I have said often in preparation for an upcoming forum. So I just wanted to get a little bit of an idea.
It will be next year. I don't know whether I'll need to really focus on elder abuse and then do the second event later that year,
Okay.
or whether I can sneak it in before we get steep into the elder abuse event.
Okay.
Can I offer another suggestion? This is repeat Officer Green
Oh, to see if
as a speaker.
maybe 4 times the charm?
I wonder.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect. Good. I didn't put the gavel down the last time, so we're okay. All right. With that, we're adjourned. Happy holidays, everybody.